Ashley Massaro's time in the WWE may not have lasted very long, but she made a huge impact during her time while she was there. From 2005 to 2008, she was one of the most popular female performers, and at the height of her career even competed at WrestleMania 23 for the Diva Women's title in a lumberjill match against Melina. 8 years after departing from the company, Ashley made headlines for far different reasons. As she testified under oath, she had been assaulted while working for the company. She claimed she was told not to go public with her story. She said she suffered from severe depression, and less than 3 years after making these allegations, Ashley was found unresponsive in her Long Island, New York home by her 18-year-old daughter. Later, she would be pronounced dead just 10 days before her 40th birthday. She left behind many questions unanswered. Before her death, she was working as a radio DJ for Long Island station WWSK-FM 94.3 The Shark, and was set to appear in a suicide prevention video, as well as had a trip booked to Las Vegas with former diva Rochelle Lowen, who was already in Vegas waiting for her and texting her asking where she was, but it was too late. This is the story of Ashley Massaro. Ashley Marie Massaro was born in New York City on May 26, 1979. She graduated in 1997 from John Glenn High School in Elwood, New York, and received a BS in Communication with a minor in Business from the State University of New York in Albany. Ashley competed in Miss Hawaiian Tropic pageants and was crowned Miss Hawaiian Tropic USA in 2002 and Miss Hawaiian Tropic Canada in August 2004. Ashley tried out for Playboy Scouts when they were searching for models for the 50th anniversary Playmate Hunt. She appeared in the pictorial in the December 2003 edition. In addition, she appeared on both Fatal Femmes and Flex magazines. Ashley also hosted several E! Channel Wild On episodes and appeared on Breaking Bonaducci as Danny Bonaducci's personal trainer. Ashley guest starred in an episode of Extreme Makeover Home Edition along with WWE wrestlers John Cena and Batista. In addition, she appeared in campaign ads for both Hawaiian Tropic and Yamaha. Ashley met a WWE talent scout in an event and was encouraged to audition for the 2005 WWE Diva Search, which she won to earn a one-year $250,000 contract with the company. Ashley made her debut in WWE after winning the WWE Diva Search in 2005. She was first incorporated into the Raw brand, where she had her first wrestling feud against Vince's Devils. Ashley was later drafted to the SmackDown brand and became the valet for the WWE Tag Team Champions Paul London and Brian Kendrick. Her most high-profile matches was the WWE Women's Championship match against Melina at WrestleMania 23 and as well at WrestleMania 24. In February 2007, Ashley and Glenn Jacobs filmed an episode of Smallville that aired on March 22nd of that same year. During her tenure with the company, she had appeared on the covers of several magazines, including the April 2007 issue of Playboy, and also made appearances on television and in music videos. In April 2007, Ashley also appeared as a guest on Fuse's TV show The Sauce. And later that month, her and other female wrestlers filmed Timbaland's video Throw It On Me, featuring the Hives. Ashley was a contestant on CBC's Survivor China in 2007. She approached the WWE with the idea of doing the show, and after going through the casting process, she found out she made the show 10 days before she had to leave for China to film. Prior to the experience, Ashley had never been camping before, so to train for the show, she had to get used to being out in nature. She was assigned to the Zanhu tribe in the first episode and quickly began quarreling with fellow contestant Dave Cruiser. In the second episode, Ashley was voted off after 6 days with a 6-1 vote. In 2008, she appeared in Rev Theory's video for Hell Yeah. Ashley was released from her WWE contract on July 9, 2008. A week prior to her release, she announced that she had asked to be let go from her contract due to her daughter being sick. In 2016, Ashley Massaro was amongst 60 former wrestlers that filed a class action lawsuit with the Kairos law offices known as the WWE concussion lawsuit. The lawsuit called for neurologist testing, neurological care for all former WWE wrestlers. It also accused the company of failing to sufficiently protect their employees against the long-term health repercussions of CTE, employment misclassification, wrongful death, and concealment of the risk of head injuries. The lawsuit stated the WWE engaged in systematic misclassification of wrestlers as independent contractors, resulting in the deprivation of their rights under federal law. Many are now disabled with occupational injuries that include the effects of repeated head trauma, resulting in the increased risk of long-term neurological diseases. It also added, WWE brazenly maintains that the named plaintiff wrestlers are independent on any regulation because they are falsely said to be fully independent, like house painters, cleaners, and subcontractors who happen to set foot in a WWE ring. This lawsuit is their only means of getting redress for this structural situation that has deprived them of the rights enjoyed by all workers in the United States. The lawsuit seeks to have the courts in their equitable power to fashion a comprehensive remedy for the working conditions and injuries wrestlers have endured. The lawsuit was later dismissed, and Ashley, in an email to the WWE, stated she regretted taking part in the lawsuit and apologized. After her death, her lawyer Konstantin Kairos said he was unaware of any such email and that even if she sent it, it's a legal nullity. In September 2017, Ashley made a brief return to professional wrestling by competing in 01 Professional Wrestling USA with former WWE diva Jillian Hall. In a November 2017 affidavit, Ashley explained the hardship she faced with WWE in full grim detail. Aside from my ongoing physical injuries that were sustained in the ring and my former battle with addiction, to this day I suffer from depression, for which I take medication, migraine headaches, and severe short-term memory loss. I have been receiving medical treatment for these problems since I left WWE, in which I am currently still undergoing. I attribute these issues to my work-related injuries sustained while working for the WWE, and specifically to the routine, repetitive blows to the head I received in the ring over the course of my career, which were not properly diagnosed or treated, despite WWE's admittance that they had and have a duty to take all reasonable steps to protect the health and safety of its performers and to inform its performers of the risk of long-term impairments from repetitive brain trauma. They owed me this duty during and after my wrestling career, and they failed to live up to its obligation. As a result, it has caused me severe and ongoing pain and suffering, emotional distress, and financial hardship. Ashley continued, I received a letter from Paul Levesque, Triple H, dated November 7, 2014, regarding the WWE Former Talent Drug and Alcohol Rehabilitation Assistance Program. The letter, which I still have, states that help would be provided to participants regardless of the reason for their departure from the WWE or amount of time performed in the WWE. It seems contradictory that WWE acknowledges the duty to assist former talent with drug and alcohol treatment, but does not acknowledge any responsibility for the treatment of the head injuries that led to the addictions. In her 15-page affidavit, Ashley also explained the injuries and abuse she suffered while with WWE. I've had multiple documented concussions during my career. Aside from the times I was knocked unconscious and out cold for 5 minutes, I also have a fractured spine, a 5-inch metal plate inserted in my ankle, and debilitating back injuries. Vince McMahon himself ordered a cast to be sawed off my right hand moments before I was thrown back into the ring to wrestle on TV, even though the cast was not scheduled to come off for another 2 or 3 weeks. I was beat down, broken, and being almost forced to perform. Since then, I see pain management doctors on a monthly basis for 10 years because of the pain and problems that came from the time being there. I've been plagued by these injuries my entire life after leaving the company. I believe WWE has caused major life-altering problems and wish more than anything that I would never have worked for them. After winning the 2005 Raw Diva search on August 15, 2005, Ashley claimed that WWE offered her a 1-year contract to become the face of the women's division, but in a spokesmodel capacity, not as a wrestler. Nonetheless, WWE classified her as an independent contractor rather than an employee. Inconsistent with her status as a spokesmodel, WWE required Ashley to perform 4 or 5 days a week as a wrestler, only 1 week after winning the competition and without any training under her belt. Almost immediately, the injuries began piling up. This led to pain medication dependence and addiction, something she claimed contributed to her plunge into deep depression. WWE even tried to take 20% of her cut from the $250,000 Diva Search winnings. The explanation given to Ashley by WWE was that someone named Rich from Marina del Rey, California, had represented her in the deal. When she refused and denied this information, WWE threatened to take away her contract. During her second week with the company, Ashley asked Stephanie McMahon if she could receive wrestling training at WWE's Ohio Wrestling School in Louisville, Kentucky. Stephanie said no, stating that Ashley would be off TV and lose her fan base and spot on the roster if she were to do this. Ashley's popularity almost guaranteed her exposure, but didn't allow her to be in the spotlight to get proper wrestling training. Within a month of being with WWE, Ashley Massaro had a match with a veteran female wrestler at a house show who performed a backbreaker on her. Ashley's back was slammed directly onto the unnamed performer's knee, leading to a severe back injury. Ashley had expected to be taken aside before the match to be shown how to adequately protect herself during the move, but this never happened, despite, as she claimed, everyone knowing that she didn't have proper in-ring training. She also asserted that other wrestlers worked stiff with her because she was new. With Ashley's lack of training came multiple concussions. Ashley remembered a match that took place on September 5, 2005. Again, Ashley was knocked unconscious for 5 minutes because nobody taught her how to be on the receiving end of the move safely. The only person who advised her afterward was Trish Stratus, who told her to shake it off because she knew that wrestlers often got into trouble when they spoke up. After being refused permission to train on her 2 days off each week, Ashley disobeyed and did so anyway. She feared that if she continued to accumulate injuries, become permanently disabled, or even die without learning proper techniques on how to protect herself. When Stephanie McMahon found out about her training, she stopped it immediately, stating that she didn't know anything about the gym Ashley was training at and that it could become a liability for WWE if she got injured. Ashley learned years later that she was within her rights to continue training on her days off, but at the time she wasn't aware of her rights as an independent contractor. She believed that she might have prevented at least some of the injuries she had suffered, like a hairline fracture to her spine, the numerous back injuries, and herniated discs. An injury that haunts me to this day on February 20th, 2006 was when I was injured in the ring at a women's battle royal. I suffered a large fracture that went around my leg bone twice, and a piece of the bone became loose. Ashley continued, on February 22nd, 2006, I underwent surgery to have a 5-inch metal plate, 8 screws, and staples placed in my leg. Despite the serious injury, WWE forced Ashley to get into the ring. During a spot that went wrong, Mickie James kidnapped her, causing Ashley to fall out of a chair. Trish Stratus then accidentally landed on Ashley's already severely injured leg. As a result, Ashley required further surgeries, including an operation to fix her ankle in 2010. In the summer of 2006, Ashley shattered her knuckle against Crystal Marshall. With her hand placed in a cast, it was to remain there for about 4 weeks. But soon Vince McMahon ordered it to be taken off weeks before properly healing so that she could perform in a match. She was acting as Brian Kendrick and Paul London's manager at the time, and according to her affidavit, Paul London was a witness to the incident. In 2007, on a visit to Kuwait during a 2-week tour in support of the troops that included stops in Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia, Ashley experienced an unspeakable ordeal that affected her mind, body, and soul. She was drugged violently by someone professing to be a U.S. Army doctor. I can't even find the words to describe what it felt like to be thrown on a table, stripped, and then brutalized in the worst possible way that one human being is capable of brutalizing another, all while being unable to move or speak. In addition to the pain and terror, I felt almost dehumanized. According to her affidavit, she began to suffer from cramps and wanted to take some time to rest in an air-conditioned Humvee. However, some of the U.S. Army soldiers insisted that she was suffering from dehydration, a common occurrence in the dry, hot climate. so they transported her to a nearby military base in Kuwait where she would receive an IV for dehydration, despite her insisting she did not need it. Ashley detailed the terrible ordeal that followed. After sitting with the IV in my arm for what felt like hours, Jimmy Hart came in to check up on me and make sure I was okay. I told him I was fine, but that they wouldn't let me leave because they said I had to wait to see a doctor. Jimmy said he and the rest of the group were going to lunch and left. Another couple hours went by, and then a man appeared in the sick bay, dressed in an orange t-shirt and cargo shorts, and I heard others comment that it was his birthday. He represented himself as a U.S. Army doctor, but I observed that all the other doctors in the facility had been wearing scrubs, so I do not know whether or not this was true. He was with a woman who was dressed in full military fatigues. While I was in the sick bay, he approached me and almost immediately administered an IV of an unknown substance into my other arm. Almost immediately after, the alleged doctor and the woman in fatigues moved me into a room that did not appear to be a treatment room and placed me on a table. The woman guarded the door while the man proceeded to inject me with a drug that caused me to be unable to move my body or to scream. The man proceeded to violently me. I was completely helpless to defend myself against this attack, as the drugs he injected rendered me temporarily paralyzed. Despite being unable to control my movements, I remained fully conscious for every second of the attack. I felt excruciating pain as a result of this man pushing me by force and against my will, in a violent and aggressive manner while I was completely defenseless. Each second that went by was excruciating, and I have never felt more helpless or been more terrified in my entire life. This experience was a living nightmare. I don't know exactly how long this went on for, but it felt like an eternity. The suffering I endured far surpassed all the injuries I have ever suffered in the ring put together. I was experiencing not only severe physical pain, but severe emotional and psychological trauma. Although Ashley herself didn't want the information of this appalling attack to become public, once back in the United States, Vince McMahon led a meeting with her, including other WWE executives. McMahon said that it wasn't in WWE's best interest to make the details of her attack public and should be kept confidential. He did apologize for what happened, but told her not to let one bad experience ruin the excellent work the military was doing. He didn't want to tarnish WWE's relationship with them. To ensure that this wouldn't happen again, WWE instituted a new policy where a female escort would accompany any female performer who went to the Middle East 24/7. But with the damage done, nobody in the WWE even suggested therapy. Ashley was forced to deal with the incident herself. Sadly, and to be expected, she relived it countless times in her mind. "I am angry that WWE silences its performers," Ashley would later say in an affidavit. "I'm angry that the WWE puts its performers in dangerous situations. I'm angry that the WWE fails to provide appropriate treatment when injuries occur. I'm angry that I'm already suffering from long-term effects of in-ring injuries, which may get worse over time, and WWE disclaims responsibility. The pattern of behavior illustrates a lack of concern on their part for the health, safety, and well-being of its performers." Ashley continued, "I finally broke my silence because I thought my story would help shed light on what I view as an important cause that has deeply affected me and so many others. WWE has utterly failed in its duties to promote and protect the safety and well-being of the men and women who dedicate their lives to the business, and it should not be permitted to continue to sweep important issues under the rug. Finally, I hope that telling my story may cause a young person aspiring to be a professional wrestler to think twice and consider the realities of the situation and not make the same mistakes that I did." On June 30th, 2018, Ashley began working as a radio DJ for Long Island station WWSK-FM 94.3 The Shark, where she worked 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays. The following May, she was promoted to hosting the station's evening program on Wednesday nights. Ashley was always thankful of her fans and regularly kept in touch with them on social media as well through fan mail. On May 15th, 2019, Ashley finished replying to fan mail but failed to show up for work at WWSK-FM later that evening. At 5:23 a.m. the following morning, paramedics responded to a rescue call where Ashley was discovered hanging and unresponsive at her home in Smithtown, New York. She was pronounced dead upon arriving to the hospital 10 days before her 40th birthday. On the evening of Wednesday, May 15th, Ashley was making plans for the future. She was texting her friend and fellow former wrestler Rochelle Lowen about an October autograph signing in Alberta, Canada. But first there was a more pressing matter, a spontaneous jaunt the very next day. "Do you want to go to Vegas? I'm going down tomorrow through Sunday," Lowen texted Ashley, who had been planning her own trip to Nevada for the following week. "Come stay in my room with me and my girlfriends at the Hard Rock." "That sounds great. I'll hit you back after I check with my airline." Ashley texted at around 5:30 p.m. that evening. On Thursday morning, Lowen landed in Las Vegas and texted Ashley. "I said, 'Are you coming, babe?' Lowen told the Post, and I didn't hear back. Instead, Lowen's phones buzzed with a text from another friend. 'Did you hear about Ashley?' She would later post on her Instagram page, 'I'm shocked and devastated by Ashley Massaro's passing. She was supposed to be here in Vegas on this girls' trip which I'm on right now. We spoke yesterday. She said she was coming. Now she's gone. I'm at a loss. I don't know how to process this quite yet. I miss you, Ashley. I miss you already, babe. We spoke no longer than 24 hours ago." A visitation for Ashley was held that day and the next at the Branch Funeral Home in Smithtown. On May 21st, she was buried at the St. James Church Cemetery in St. James, New York. At the time of her death, some news outlets, all citing the website TMZ, stated that Ashley's death was a suicide. The medical examiner's office did not release an official cause of death, citing a New York state privacy law that allows withholding information that would constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. In September 2021, a USA Today article stated that she had died by suicide and wrote that her death, along with the suicides of wrestler Hana Kimura and Daphne in the succeeding 2 years, had spurred a conversation about mental health in the professional wrestling industry. Ashley had taken part in a suicide prevention music video by her WWSK co-worker Brian Orlando, who had recorded a song with Brandon B. Brown, Vinny Dombrowski, and Kevin Martin. Following her death, Orlando scrapped plans to release the video. With her family's blessing, it was released in July 2020. In response to the affidavit made public, WWE would respond. WWE is saddened by the death of Ashley Massaro, and we reiterate our condolences to her family. However, we regret that her attorney Konstantin Kairos, who filed multiple cases against WWE, lost them all, and was sanctioned multiple times by the court for repeated misconduct and false allegations, is using Ashley's death to further his malicious campaign against WWE by releasing an affidavit that she submitted to the court and later apologized to WWE for being involved with. So we wish to make certain things crystal clear. At no time was Vince McMahon or the management of WWE ever informed by Ashley Massaro or anybody else that she had ever been assaulted, drugged by a military doctor with a nurse standing guard while on a goodwill tour in 2007 to the U.S. military base in Kuwait. In fact, if she ever articulated such a claim to WWE, we would have reported it immediately to the base commander. At no time was there ever a meeting with Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, John Laurinaitis, or other company executives in which she told them of such a claim and was instructed to keep quiet. In a moving tribute on his Facebook page entitled Goodbye Ashley, Mick Foley wrote the following. Ashley Massaro was only 39 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. We lived in the same small town in Long Island. Her daughter and my 2 children went to the same elementary school together. Ashley and I often talked about getting the children together for activities, but it never happened. I was always sure there would be another time, plenty of time to get the children together. Ashley loved her daughter so much and hoped that through wrestling she could make a better life for her. I'm looking at this photo as I am typing and my heart is just breaking. She was so beautiful and so kind-hearted. I wish so much that I had followed through with our plans to get our kids together. She was always so nice to me and everyone in my family, and now she's gone. In the aftermath of her tragic death, Trish Stratus and Lillian Garcia were determined to help Ashley's family and daughter, so they put together a video where several WWE divas spoke directly to her. Following the news of her death, Rebby Sky made a controversial post on Twitter. The tweet received a lot of backlash from fans. Rebby then responded the following. Death threats against me and my kids because I'm tweeting over a TV show and not in a black veil? I can't. She would later tweet, People desperately trying to force me to care about something I don't give a fuck about and looking for shit that ain't there. I'm out here tweeting about a drag race, but I'm fat and ugly cause I ain't mourning. Lol. This led to Ashley's daughter, Alexa Massaro, tweeting the following. No one wants you to care. You could have worded this way better. Who are you to even say something like this? Who involved you? This is an incredibly distasteful way to clear up an obvious misunderstanding. Fortunately, Ashley's family wasn't in need of funeral costs, but Mick Foley convinced them to agree to a fundraiser for a college fund for Ashley's daughter Alexa. It was a way of helping out that also involved the fans. Mick Foley even promised to watch SmackDown or Raw with fans who donated $5,000. For $10,000, he'd fly overseas. $17,000 was raised in the first 24 hours, and thanks to her fans' generous support, over $100,000 was raised in total. It was a classy move by all involved and truly showed how much Ashley Massaro meant to her fans and loved ones. On November 21, 2020, Ashley's younger brother, Ronnie Massaro, was fatally stabbed in New York City at the age of 39. He was buried in the same cemetery as his sister. For every John Cena or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson that professional wrestling produces, there are countless others chewed up by the back-breaking industry. There have been several suicides and drug overdoses, and a handful of former pros that have been diagnosed with CTE after death. While the action in the ring is choreographed, that doesn't mean the body contact isn't physically punishing or that things don't go wrong. That was the story of Ashley Massaro.
I don't wanna feel this good just 'cause you call